And so now you have a relatively insignificant case being brought by a liberal DA instead of one of the more significant investigations by the special counsel or in Atlanta. And that is a best case scenario for Donald Trump. Republicans are coalescing around him just as I had predicted. And they have a fair argument to say that it's political. Not political because Bragg is blindly trying to bring down Trump at all costs, but political to protect himself from his liberal base. And a case which will drag on, likely never end up in jail time, and allow Donald Trump to have a point that he is the victim, exactly as he has long claimed. This indictment will be a political gift to Donald Trump. Let's bring in someone now with the different take. Lauren Wright, Associate Research Scholar and Lecturer in Politics and Public Affairs at Princeton University. Thanks for coming on the show. Appreciate it. What do you think I'm getting wrong here?
I do not understand the political gift aspect. I'm of the traditional mindset that getting indicted by a grand jury is not a good thing. I think we overlearned from 2016. Trump barely won. A lot of scandals surrounded him. He squeaked by with 70,000 votes. That doesn't mean it was a triumph for him. It just maybe means that this same baked-in support that he always had among his base, and it's already enough to win the primary, I'm not contesting that, might stay in place despite these charges or potential charges, not be helped by them. So I think your take that it's going to be a boost to him, I am in total disagreement with, but he might end up winning the primary, right, Dan, anyway.
All right. So here's why I think it's a boost, right? Is that increasingly Ron DeSantis was doing better. More Republicans focusing on Ron DeSantis. A lot of other Republicans entering the race because they thought Donald Trump was getting weak. Now, you're right. If there are a lot of people who enter the race, Donald Trump will probably win the primary regardless. But what I'm seeing here suddenly is Republicans now, as I said, coalescing around Donald Trump. The minute he's indicted, all of them are going to be under enormous pressure to stand behind him for a lot of the reasons that I'm laying out, where I agree with a lot of the points that they're making about that. But as they gather together to support Donald Trump, that has got to help him, no, in a Republican primary?
So let me get this straight. You're hypothesizing, so hypothetically, if Trump were not indicted, that he would perform more poorly?
Correct.
He would. Okay,
Correct.
So
Correct.
We are getting it right. And I'll put it in the Ron DeSantis terms for you, because I think that's a really relevant point. Ron DeSantis is not full-throated defending Trump right now. He's saying he thinks this is politically motivated, but he's also pointing out that paying hush payments to a porn star is totally unrelatable to him. And that was a central component of his response to the press. And so he's not running toward Donald Trump. He's already trying to draw a contrast.
But he's running against
relevant.
Donald Trump. He has to say something. And we'll talk about this later in the show about how aggressive Ron DeSantis ought to be with regard to Trump. It's a separate segment we're going to do. But it's obvious that his opponent can't suddenly say, rah, rah, Donald Trump. I'm talking about everyone else. I'm talking about the Kevin McCarthys. I'm talking about the Lindsey Grahams. I'm talking about all of the what are viewed as the traditional Republicans are now coming around. And it's going to get a lot more so if and when this indictment occurs.
It's still hush payments to a porn star. That's not something average Americans wake up and worry about every day. It's extremely unrelatable. And, every time Trump has a scandal involving him personally or politically, he survives it. Yes, he's Teflon Don, but his poll numbers drop. That happened after the Access Hollywood tape. It happened after January 6th.
But this
isn't new. He lost support among every single group of Republicans.
But this isn't new, right?
I think, maybe he'll squeak by in the primary, sure. This will help sustain attention on his campaign. But this is a disaster in any traditional political context, especially once it gets to the general election.
Traditional political context. That's the key.
Applies.
This is not traditional. That's the whole point. This is not traditional political context. Look, no right or wrong here. We shall see. Lauren Wright, thanks for coming on the program. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you for watching.